Good evening. Welcome to Latino Talk TV. I'm your host, Jose Luis Jimenez.
And I'm Ben Mendez.
Well, I hope you're having a great afternoon. If you're out in the actually, you probably know, if you're at home, you're looking out the window, it's raining out there, be careful. We're broadcasting live from Houston Media Source here in the Greater East End. I'd like to introduce our guests that are with us for the show. We're going to have a really interesting topic tonight. So first and foremost, Mr. Joaquin Martinez, welcome.
Hello, thank you.
Recent candidate for Senate District 6, a new up-and-coming political star, as I like to call him, right? And of course, Mr. Richard Reyes.
Hello, thank you for inviting me.
And if you don't recognize him right now, his alter ego, his alter ego right now is Mr. Pancho Claus. You get to see him when he's not doing his community work. He's a wonderful man. So we're going to get right into it today. We're going to talk about current events, and then we're going to go right into our topic, which is the state that's going out there, and also Mr. Richard Reyes is going to discuss what's going on with his LULAC Council, the League of United Latin American Citizens, and some of the activities that are going on here in Houston. So first and foremost, Ben, what's going on out there?
Well, I think everybody saw the Super Bowl, right?
What was that?
Yes.
I want you to know that I was rooting for Baltimore because they were the underdog, and I was glad to see the underdog win. And the other thing is, I don't know if you noticed, but there was a halftime show.
There was? Oh, wait, there was a game around the halftime show, right?
Let me tell you, Beyonce and the crew, Destiny's Child, did a great job. I don't know what you all feel about that. What is your opinion?
I thought, it was an awesome performance, I think. The lights, she had some, I guess, what was it, 3D kind of holograms as well. And I thought it was an awesome show.
Well, three of those young ladies are Houston. Beyonce and her posse are Houston raised, HSPVA, so yeah.
Yeah, and I will tell you also is she did not lip sync.
Like right now, we're lip syncing. You haven't seen this? We're lip syncing the show right now.
We're actually syncing in through the internet.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, so we are syncing in, I guess. So I guess that counts.
All righty, man.
Well, let's talk about some of these other current events. And now you all know there was an Iraq vet that was charged in the killing of an ex-SEAL. Apparently, he had gotten back from the Army. He was 20 years old. His name was Eddie Ray Roth, and he killed Chris Kyle and Chad Littlefield in Glen Rose, Texas, at a shooting range. Now, we know that there's a lot of Army vets and Marine vets that are coming back to home, and they have some issues. And some of them just don't know how to deal with those issues. Now, my concern is that we're going to have a mass influx, and we don't have enough support for them.
Yeah, definitely.
So you've been in the military. You know how it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I didn't serve during what they call technical time of war, but it's not an easy thing to what I call, when you discharge and out process and change from military life to civilian life, even in what they call downtime, it's not an easy transition, especially if you've had to serve overseas or you've been in the desert for whatever reason. you are on high attention mode. You're always watching your back. It's a stressful situation, and there is no counseling or any acceptable transition out because it's taboo to ask for help. So hopefully those things have changed, or maybe they just give automatic counseling sessions. Because leaving the military, when I got out back in '98, it's been a while back. It was right after Desert Storm. We were there during Desert Watch, when technically there wasn't a war, but stuff was still going on, and it's crazy. I mean, do you have any friends that are in the military yourselves?
Well, I have a lot of students that go to the military. And while I hate to see it, when I heard about this, I was thinking, you live by the sword, you die by the sword, because this guy was famous. The guy got killed, written a book about killing as a sniper 100 or 200 people, and that was his claim to fame. And then what a way to go, ironically. So.
Yeah, I have a younger brother, actually. He serves in the military right now, and he's stationed in El Paso. And interaction that I've had with him, it's a lot more personal because I get to remember him growing up, and now that he's in the military and the experiences he's having, I think it's really important we make sure that family always stay in touch with them as well, because again, that immediate, once you're out of that combat, what happens next, and we really need to see how we can definitely bring them back to home, family, and see what's the best thing for them as well. So.
My son, he's fixing to graduate from high school. He actually is signing up with the Marines. He leaves in August for boot camp.
Wow.
Yeah, so, this kind of stuff scares parents. I don't know about you all, but you're concerned about what's going on in Iraq, Afghanistan, Middle East in general.
Yeah.
You just never know what's going to happen when you sign up for the military. Sometimes they send you off to where the war is, and sometimes they don't. Yeah, and so as parents, I think we are all concerned for our kids.
But that concern has gone on to parents concerned about their kids playing football or just going down to the stop and go at night. So it's
I think it's a lot more stressful than that, because my mom had a real hard time when I joined the military, and I was in Saudi Arabia for a good 4 to 6 months. I don't remember anymore. We got there, and it's not the same. When you're sitting there, and then all of a sudden you hear the sirens going off. It's a very different type of intensity.
It definitely gives you an appreciation of those soldiers. Bottom line, they're out there. They risk their life for our safety, our protection, our rights, and so, whatever we could do to definitely make sure that whatever resources that they need when they get back, it's important. It really is important.
And then my other son is going to be in the police academy. So I mean, they're both dangerous, obviously.
Yeah.
But I applaud their efforts for wanting to serve the community, and I support them.
I guess I know where they got it from.
And so
Serving the community.
Yeah.
So
That's good.
So my son actually goes to University of Houston downtown. He works for your ex-boss, Adrian Garcia. So I'm looking forward to seeing him in uniform.
Very nice.
Definitely good luck.
Wow. Okay. Well,
Let's go
that's
on
a tough
to the next topic. A judge in Austin has ruled the Texas finance plan is unconstitutional. The poor districts, I'm talking about school districts, pay more money than the rich districts do.
No, it's the other way around.
No. This is according to what was in the Chronicle. You can read it yourself. The poor districts pay more money than the rich districts.
Isn't HISD part of this suit?
Percentage-wise.
Isn't HISD part of this suit?
There's, I think, 5 or 6 school districts that are in the lawsuit. Yeah. So this was kind of interesting, and I was thinking the same way you were.
Because I haven't read the articles and I haven't followed it very well.
Yeah, I had to read the article a couple of times just to make sure I was saying the right thing. And so it's kind of ironic that, we've had this system for how many years?
So this is the Robin Hood system here in Texas. People may not know about that.
And so now we're just now taking it to court. If it's been wrong this whole time, we could have gotten more money, supposedly, for the poor school districts.
Well, is really HISD considered a poor school district?
Yeah, that's why I was confused. That's why I was confused that
I
they
don't
were
know the ranking for
involved.
HISD.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that there's an increase in what we expect in performance level, but yet we're decreasing their money. We decreased their money by over $4 billion last year through the state legislature, and actually 2 years ago. And so it'll be interesting to see what comes out of this lawsuit.
I first and foremost think it's a great thing that that this decision came out, because you know, when you start looking at oversized classrooms, you know, teachers not being compensated the way they should be, the whole system definitely needs to be looked at. But, you know, to be able to acknowledge that, you know, that money is needed within our schools, you know, I think it's a great decision that, you know, came out of that suit. So.
Well, there's over 200 plus school districts out there. I mean, how many? That's over 200 superintendents, over 200 assistant superintendents.
Yeah.
You know, and the network, or the, you know, the structure is humongous.
Yeah.
So why haven't we created a more efficient educational system? You know.
Good question. I mean, that goes back to the State House and the Senate. They're the ones that are making the decisions for all of us.
Yep.
And that's another reason why it's important for you, the voters, to get out there and vote for a senator.
Yes.
That's the bottom
Do
line.
not forget. Do not forget.
Speaking of voting, you know, I'll just give my 2 cents. You know, the special election that we just had was one of the lowest turnouts ever.
Oh my gosh. What was their turnout, Joaquin?
I think at election day it was probably a little bit over 16,000, which is horrible.
Out of how many?
What percentage? was it?
248. It's probably about 7 or 8%, somewhere around there. 248,000 registered voters in Senate District 6. You know, talking about that, you know, being in the race, you know, it was definitely a huge honor for me to be able to step into the, you know, political arena in this race, because, you know, one of my goals was to definitely make sure that we brought the vote out. The voters that I believe voted for me, you know, I really believe that they probably would not have shown up, you know, and so, you know, being able to be a part of this process, and also, you know, ensuring that, you know, the message gets out. You know, I know that the governor hasn't set the day of the runoff, but, you know, I'm going to do my due diligence definitely to make sure that we spread the word, you know, where the early voting sites will be, day of election, and then, you know, as much as possible do a huge GOTV. So.
Go ahead.
Okay, so why do people just don't go vote? What is it?
Apathy, I guess, because the candidates spend a lot of money. I think they spend like $100 per vote, something like that. The major candidates are all together. I read that somewhere. And so the word is out there. Why we can get I know that our LULAC group did a lot of get out the vote and voter registration and rallies. And we had the candidates there at our meetings, and I just don't know.
You know, speaking of dollars per vote, I'm happy to say that we probably spend about $12.50 per vote. So, you know, and
Well, are you really happy about that?
well, you know, I'm happy that we didn't have to spend $100 per vote. You know, because then I would really be. I don't know how many would I be able to have. I think maybe about 4 votes or 5 votes total. But, you know, in all honesty, though, I think, you know, voters want to see a diverse selection, you know, and I think I was saying this on the campaign trail. You know, a lot of our elected officials are uncontested for the most part, and so, you know, well, why do I have to go vote? They're going to win already, you know, and so for me, and one of my goals with this campaign was to definitely bring diversity, definitely make sure that, you know, that there are other options, and those other options can range from, you know, whether inexperienced to the most experienced, and nonetheless, they're all at the same table. They're all sharing their ideas and their values and who they are. And, you know, I think the more people that we have in the election process, you know, candidates, I think it's a great thing, you know. Unfortunately, right now, you know, talking about, you know, voting, and, you know, November is about to come around, and we're having elections, and right now we only have, you know, 2 city council districts that are Hispanic. You know, I think it'll get a lot more interesting if there was a Hispanic that was running in every city council district. I think voter turnout might even increase, because then those personal networks show up as well within those candidates. So, you know, it's going to definitely take some ganas, I guess you could say, by several candidates to step into that role as a leader, to say, you know what, I want to do something for my community. So.
And by the way, Richard Reyes is running for mayor. Did you know that?
That's Richard Reyes.
Mayor
right here on Latino Talk TV.
Mayor Second Ward.
Mayor, second word.
You need a campaign manager?
I only have the dollar menu though, per vote.
Dollar per vote.
Yeah.
Well, I must say that I was very proud that you ran. A lot of people were saying, you know, what is he doing? Why is he running? He doesn't have a shot, blah, blah, blah. But I will tell you, you did energize a lot of people to come out and vote. And actually, you energized some folks that had never been in the process before. first-time voters, which is something that we need to encourage more of. So my hat's off to you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Definitely.
You look at me like I'm crazy.
No, it's true. No, in all honesty, I mean, I've known Joaquin personally now. We're, gosh, what, 10 plus years?
Yeah.
We went to college together, and he's always been an activist one way or the other.
That's right.
You know, and just took it to the next level. So congratulations. And
Thank you. Thank you. You know, again, my goal, if I can have inspired anybody else to run, you know, think about running, you know, at least put it in their plans and their dreams that they can reach. I've done my job. And it was a bigger picture behind why I wanted to run. Of course, if I could have won, that would have been awesome. We would have definitely changed the landscape of politics in Houston. But I think, you know, we're going to take those steps slow eventually, because, you know, I can't do this by myself.
so I don't know where I saw it.
We need to get our callers engaged here. So
Oh
they
yeah.
can-
Okay. Sorry about that. If you're watching the show, we want you to participate with us. If you're at home right now and you want to participate, and you have a comment or a question to any one of our panelists, please call in. The number is 281-846-5079. 281-846-5079. We are actually live right now here at Houston Media Source. So we want you to call in and participate. Okay.
And the question can be on anything, and we'll talk about any subject matter.
Right now, yes. But right now we're focusing on, well, yeah, anything. Okay. Well, actually, man, I just lost my train of thought. Goodness gracious.
Well, let me ask another question. I'm just curious. You as a community leader with LULAC and all the other stuff you do with Pancho Claus, what do you see out there with the kids? What do they say about politics? Are they not interested, or some of them are interested but don't know how to get involved? What is it that
Well, I
you
think the college student is definitely interested.
Yeah.
Middle school, high school, they're much like we were. You know, we were interested in whatever the fads were of our generation. However, I think these new social media that they have that we didn't have, Facebook, etc., they have a little bit more. They're a little bit more attuned to what's going on, whether it's a school massacre or a presidential inauguration. They did see something, you know, if nothing else, on their Facebooks, you know, people. So I think they're a little bit more savvy. But on the other hand, look at our generation. You know, the percentage of the vote we got out there. So.
Yeah, you know, the other interesting thing is that he has brought in a bunch of youth, or actually you still do, with getting the cultural arts. You know, I'm wondering if there's a way that we can encourage your group to promote voting at your events, because I know people listen to you and you have the respect of many from the East End. If you can get those kids engaged in the political process at an early age, I wonder if you can make a difference doing that for us.
Well, they do to a certain extent. You'll see them often at, well, the LULAC Chorizo and Menudo, where we had the candidates there. You'll see our students there with their artwork, being involved in that process and being right in the middle of it. So we try to get them involved, and whenever they're invited to, you know, as long as they can be nonpartisan and just be there learning and supporting the endeavor of getting out the vote.
You know, just to add on, because I grew up with Pancho Claus, and so I definitely
One
have
of
to
my
give,
kids.
Yeah, I definitely have to.
His
you know,
family literally had a baseball team when I knew him, because there were like 9 of y'all, right?
Yes. Actually 12, but at the time maybe 9 at that.
That's what I remember.
No, but you know,
That big.
you know,
That's pretty cool.
Richard is definitely a huge influence in the community, and I think that's, you know, in order to be able to engage more youth and just the community as a whole, I think community leaders need to step into that role. And I know that, again, you know, y'all were there, and you had a couple of students that were there, and I think that was a great thing. You know, we took pictures, and I talked to them about, you know, what were their interests, and so, you know, those leaders within our community, you know, as the more that we can kind of come together, push that, you know, I think the larger turnouts will eventually start coming. And again, we need to have more people on the ballot, you know, a lot more people on the ballot.
Well, you know, you bring up an interesting topic. You know, before we started the show, we were talking about some of the factions that exist in LULAC, Latino culture, Latino organizations.
Ballet, folklóricos,
Every
water
organization
clubs,
out there.
everywhere. Yeah.
And I'm going to safely say that it's probably not just only in the Latino organizations, it's probably in all of them, but it's just a lot more prominent in, I guess because we are Hispanic, in those organizations. It just stands out. There's a lot of clashes that happen, you know, like within, you know, I'm probably happy to say that I'm a LULAC member, and I love LULAC for the reason it was made and what it does. And there are times the organization has its differences where a lot of people get disengaged from that, right? But in big, citywide politics, statewide politics, it's the same thing. Yeah. We had 8 candidates in one area, where that was good, and some people would say, well, why didn't they just make a deal before they all got out there? Mm-hmm. And even to this day, why do people? I read it somewhere. Someone had said it, but they said it to President Obama. It's like, thank you for living in a glass house. For any politician that's out there, thank you for living in a glass house. And that little statement struck to me because, when you become a political candidate, you're living in a glass house. They're going to throw stones at you, and they're going to find everything they can on you. How was your experience surrounding all that?
Honestly, since I was inexperienced and not well known, I'm glad to say that I don't have any big skeletons in my closet.
Plexiglass.
Too young.
I guess that's a good thing about being young, being a candidate. For me, it was the way I projected my message. It was kind of hard to kind of have anything to say bad. And the type of person that I am naturally is I want to work with everybody anyway. So whether there's differences or not, and honestly, I say this within our generation. And I say our generation, which is kind of that, I guess, Y is it the Y generation now or X generation?
X, Y, Z.
I'm in generation.
I'm the X. I'm Generation X. Is what they told me.
And there's a new kind of outlook on life. I really believe that. I think we're back in maybe the 40s, 50s, 60s. You had to fight for with the little that was there. Whether it was in the barrio, or I remember stories of my dad saying that he had to put his same nickel or dime, and he still had to sit in the back of the bus. So you're kind of more in that defensive or that kind of aggressive, like this is mine, I have to claim it, and all the work that Richard, Ben, I don't know if I can classify you in that. I don't want to tell your age.
Well, you're 55?
I'm actually one of his former students.
You'd be surprised.
From last week's workshop.
I agree, Jose. I think that it's not just our culture that does that. That's why there's 2 MLK parades. That's why there's 2 Westheimer Art Festivals.
Thank you.
And there's a healthy tension that's good in a lot of organizations to question and make us think. So I think it's a good thing in some cases.
So just look at the number of black churches.
Yeah.
The black churches, they spin off from one another, and they create more churches. So obviously it's evident in the black community.
Yeah.
So that brings a real big point. It's not, because there's a lot of cultural prejudices out there, or preconceived ideas about how Latinos act. In reality, there's no difference, because there's so many stories out there. How do we win the Latino vote? Now the Democratic Party, the Republican Party has to win the Latino vote. Truth is, I don't think there's really a Latino vote to win. I honestly believe it's just based on the issues and the topics that are important to people at that moment.
Yeah.
Because, second, third, fourth, fifth generation Latinos really think the same way as second, third, fourth, fifth generations as everybody
Don't tell
else.
that to the Republicans, because McCain was just on last week saying that they're back in the DREAM Act because of the Latino vote, because they learned their lesson. So, there are some people. McCain's
But when you go after a certain specific demographic, you're going to get the entire demographic go against you. Like, they can be infighting all day long, but when you attack one of them, they all get against you, right?
Well, the Republicans and the Democrats, there's a big divide. You have 35% approximately of the Latino voters are Republican. 65 approximately are Democratic voters. So if someone were to go after that block, they're going to have to realize that there's a differences in opinion. Okay, so do you want to go after the 65% or do you want to go after 35%? Is the question. That's when we're talking about Democrats and Republicans. Now, city council races are a little different, because it's nonpartisan, okay? And for those people that run for city council, they have to have a message that caters to both.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll fix your ditch.
Well,
Simple as
safety,
that.
Seriously.
Street, sidewalks,
economic development,
tangible things.
all those housing, that's all affects Republican and Democrats.
Police patrols, I'll fix your ditch, because I'm still at
Amenities,
all.
parks, stuff
Community
like that.
parks, I'm still at all. There's certain sections of Houston that still have ditches. They don't have, sidewalks and sewer systems. Why is it that we have certain neighborhoods that get the same sidewalks rebuilt 2 or 3 times within 10 years, and we have neighborhoods that have never even had a sidewalk put in?
Well, voters turn out. If you don't turn out, then I actually did this small activity while I was campaigning. I was able to visit a KIPP school, a third grade class, and I was telling them about, there's 248,000 voters that are registered in this district, and there's out of these are the ones that go out to vote, and then these are the ones that don't go vote. And so I started splitting up the classroom, and so I split up first the 1/3, and the 2/3 that don't even come out to vote, push them out, and then from there, the ones that actually go vote, I put out like 2 or 3 students, and I said, okay, well, come here, come with me. What do y'all want? Pizza? Y'all want go to a game? And all the other kids are like, well, wait, what's going on? I said, well, I'm not gonna pay attention to y'all because y'all don't vote. And they're like, wait. And I said, no, I'm not gonna pay attention to you because you do not vote. Y'all too, come on, what do y'all want? And again, until you go out and vote and you go out and share that kind of message, with your vote, then your sidewalks won't get paved. Your ditches will still stay, ditches, and so it's that voter turnout and educating our community that your vote is really powerful. So,
and that trickles down too, because not only is it city services, but think about it, it's the little leagues that don't get funding because the area doesn't vote.
Yeah,
it's the other things that the kids do that don't get funded, and it can be a multitude of things that don't get funded because that area does not vote. In this southeast part of town. You can see where the voting blocks are. Those are the nicest parts of town. Perfect example, Idlewood, off of Wayside. Very nice area.
Country Club.
Country Club. Yeah, because
Heights.
The Heights, yeah, because they vote.
Garden Oaks.
Yeah, and then we also have those areas that are kind of like newly developed. Obviously, the voting patterns have not been identified. But I guarantee you, if it's their high rises and so forth, those people are going to vote.
Agree. I totally agree.
So what's the position of LULAC in situations like this, and what's been the history?
Well, LULAC is a nonpartisan organization, so they really don't take a position as far as Democrat, Republican, but they do a lot. Jesse Ibanez did a lot on our council to get out the vote and had a lot of voter registration. And then we have a chorizo and menudo thing every 3rd Wednesday of the month, and we had the at Donarakis. And we had the candidates there twice during that time period, and we try to just get the candidates and the community talking about it.
LULAC did play an active role in the Senate race, but I was a little disappointed, to be honest with you, that some of the other groups did not get engaged with the electoral process. I mean, we didn't hear about some of those professional groups that are out there doing anything as far as spreading the word, letting people know there was an election. Some people knew there was an election, but they didn't know if they were part of the election because they didn't know if they lived in the Senate district. They were in the north side, east side, Pasadena. And it was unfortunate that many folks did not know they lived in the district.
That's actually unfortunate for me because I actually thought I lived in the district, and when I did the Who Represent Me on the website, I was actually right on the border. If I would have lived 1 block further south, I would have been able to qualify to be able to vote.
Yeah, but you live in River Oaks.
I wish. Hey, come on now. Someday. No, I like my neighborhood. But, that brings a good point to how some of the blocks are done. The gerrymandering that exists, the lines, if you look at some of the lines that are out there, they make no sense.
At all.
It's like all over the place.
Well, I was just thinking, it might be this new technology also, because I took my mom to vote, and she lives in the district, and she was like, oh, both major candidates have been calling me a lot. Their offices have been calling me a lot. And
So
I don't live like a mile from her. I'm in the district. I didn't get any calls. I was thinking, because she's had a landline. She's a senior citizen that's had the same phone for 40 years, while we all have cell phones, and they can't tell where we live by our cell phones. So that might be a little bit of the reason of why, our candidates are going to have to start getting more creative on how to get the vote out.
I agree.
Absolutely. So, in my business, I'm in the, I'll leave it out for now, but, I can't say nothing. But in my business, it's all about getting to people and touching them. And the way we touch our customers is through schools, educational seminars, and through Facebook.
And for our viewers, Jose sells ladies' shoes.
Yes, I do. No, I protect
And
families.
lingerie.
So, yeah, I protect families from risks of everyday life. So you know,
You can tell the viewers. Don't be ashamed.
I'm not ashamed. I'm just keeping it. I'm keeping it clean for nonprofit organizations. No, in all respect to the organization, we don't promote our own personal companies here, but. You know, that being said, it is a whole new way of marketing, because campaigning is marketing.
Yeah.
You know, and there is a certain block that will always do the same thing, which is the older generation. But once that generation starts, I don't want to say dying out, but I mean, it is what it is. You know, how are you going to get to the next generation? How are you going to engage them? And it is through Facebook. I mean, President Barack Obama showed us that. You know,
Tweeting.
Definitely.
Twitter,
He was
Twitter
tweeting.
YouTube.
and Facebook.
Yeah, do all, and you know, and I don't want to toot my own horn, but sometimes you have to. But
You have to.
you know, I think it's something what we did within our campaign for Senate District 6. We actually paved the way to some of that. You know, I got good advice in regards to Facebook ads, and I think we actually
It worked out?
It worked out. It worked out. So I say thank you. You know, because when we pushed the Facebook ad, when we started seeing for a real nominal price, our likes jumped up. You know, maybe a good 100 almost, I want to say. So, you know, Facebook is definitely important. You want to look at YouTube. You know, we were able to make some YouTube videos, which worked for you know, for the race, because what we did with our educational videos where we explained what a special election was, what does a senator do for Texas, you know, what's the difference between a Texas senator and a U.S. senator. And so, you know, being able to reach that audience in that type of medium, so it's really something that it's being paved as we speak right now.
I'm going to start a new website. It's going to be called caralibro.com.
Cara libro.
The Mexican or the Hispanic version of Facebook.com.
Oh my God. Okay, and on that note, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. We're going to keep talking about some of the things that are going on out there. So you're watching Latino Talk TV. We'll be right back. Back. You're watching Latino Talk TV here at Houston Media Source. We have our guests, Mr. Joaquin Martinez and Mr. Richard Reyes. And we were just discussing the impact of social media at a local level during a special election, and we want to kind of go more in depth if we can to discuss some of the impact of that, because for those that are out there, if you're watching this show, you went through the channels and you saw us on TV and you say, hey, we know those guys.
Or they were bored.
Or they were bored. No, or you really just wanted to watch it because you see our Facebook posting, you know our website, because that's really the primary way we promote our site. We have a lot of our viewers, if you're watching now, a lot of our extra viewers come from the YouTube page after the fact. So, you know, this is an opportunity for us to have open phone lines, yes, but the organic reach of the show after the fact is just tremendous. So, kind of talk to us in detail, if you can, or you want to, regarding how this really changed the game for the search segment that you were going after.
Definitely. Well, coming into the race, I knew that majority of the population, which was about 80%, was 45 and over. And for me to relate to them, for them not to just be like, oh, look how cute this guy is running, to get to those individuals that actually say, well, you're running, okay, let me take you seriously. We're going to be my peers. And so we definitely had a Facebook campaign for the most part. We looked at how Facebook, and through Facebook pages you can get kind of some feedback on regards to like the insights, what gender, what age are liking your post, and then of course you can keep track of whatever post that you're putting up, what is it that they like, is it okay with the message that I'm trying to push, and then also the interaction that they're able to get from me too. So I think that kind of raw interaction, I had people posting and I was able to respond, and I think that's one thing that sometimes as elected officials, you kind of start getting a disconnection because you're in that office, you're talking to donors, you're talking to so the actual connection that you need with your constituents is lost. So we also started looking at it within Facebook. What was that group that was actually liking my page, and started actually focusing our block walk list towards that. So, for example, we're the 25 to 35 females were.
I wonder why.
Because they're my peers.
Yes.
They like your smile. Pat Pettis is over here. She's over here smiling.
Marquis here. They just throw rocks at us. Yeah, shut up.
Even Javier likes your smile.
And then when you have a message behind that smile, I guess it works out.
One thing I forgot to mention is that Joaquin came out of the NHPO Leadership Institute.
Yes.
And we started our next class, which was class 9, Saturday.
Yeah.
So we have a new group of upcoming leaders that are going to partake in the political process. And for those of you that are not familiar with it, the National Hispanic Professional Organization, NHPO, has a leadership class that they offer twice a year. So we have one in the fall and one in the spring. So obviously the one in the spring is going on right this minute, and so it goes for 5 months every other Saturday. And our director here, our stage managers, we have Pat and Javier Perez working behind the scenes here in the studio. Mm-hmm. They are the contacts, and if you want more information, just go to our Facebook page at Latino Talk TV and say a few words and contact information, and we'll get back to you.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I guess to add on to NHPO and the Leadership Institute, it's an awesome organization. Mm-hmm. Definitely, for me to be able to engage with other like-minded, or even not like-minded, but still be able to have that interaction and to have conversation, how to start your own nonprofit. You're looking at public speaking, of course, social media, and those tools, have definitely helped me out, and I definitely want to make sure that I want to publicly say thank you, Ben. It was an honor.
Great course for
it really
all
is.
of us. And even I went through it. Richard and I were having this conversation before the show, and he says, I thought it was a bunch of youngsters, but he said he saw the pictures on Facebook, and he saw that it was very diverse. I mean, we have all age groups.
Right.
We even let Javier in the group. So 65 years and older are part of the class.
Hey, I was part of the group.
Well, nowadays you need every tool you can get because as he was speaking about social media and that's a new way. I mean, you know, back in the 50s, if you're running, I'm sure you just had to go to the Chronicle and the Post. And then probably you had to go into 3 television stations, you know, ABC. And then, oh my God, cable came out. How can you afford to, you know, and now you've had MySpace and jumped to Facebook, but you got to keep up because there's LinkedIn and Jambalaya. And there's so many, you know,
me hungry.
you have to keep up, you know.
Cara libro.
You heard it here first.
Trademark here. Exactly.
Cara Libro. Look it up. CaraLibro.com. What should be a weird website called Cara Libro? That'd be hilarious.
And then Tony's
Don't
gonna
go there.
start one called Cara Libro Traficante.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we need to bring Tony Diaz. Tony, you're watching this show. You need to come visit us. We'll talk about it. But you know, I was catching what Mr. Richard Reyes was saying right now, and he's absolutely right. You know, we need to really figure out a way to get to not only the older generation but the younger generation. There's just a big gap there. Those that are not on Facebook, those that are not on YouTube, the ones that have landlines, and then the younger generation, it's all cell phone, all Facebook, it's all YouTube, Twitter. So there's a big gap. So politicians, they have to spend money on both sides. Otherwise, they're not going to win the election.
Right.
So what we saw with the Senate race, we saw it not only with his race, but with Carol and Sylvia that were running for senator. We saw a bunch of emails pretty much every week, email blast, newsletters. We saw the mailers that were going out. I think there was like 7 or 8 mailers that I counted. That's a lot of mailers for one race.
I got to send one, by the way. I just wanted to say that.
All right.
And they're not cheap. You know, postage and printing, et cetera, they're not cheap. So it's very costly to run a campaign. But how do we get to a point where it's just one click of the button and boom, and everybody knows all the information? Who knows? That's going to be.
Well, that's not going to happen. That would get rid of, you know, tons and tons of advertising companies out there, because that's the entire secret. No one has the secret magic ingredient to any of this. It's all marketing. Because you're talking about how do we find the 40-somethings, right? 30, 40, 20-somethings that are out there.
All age groups.
Every age group. Okay, it's all based on what they do every day. You go to the baseball parks right now, even though it's raining, who's out there? Bunch of dads and moms, you know, practicing baseball with their kids. Okay, on the weekends, you go to the baseball fields, it's packed. You go to, you know, football fields or soccer fields. I mean, if you haven't been on Hardy Toll Road in the north side on a Sunday, I mean, you see thousands of people playing soccer every weekend. And those people, I mean, how do you engage them? Well, you have to get there. You know, and I really think it boils down to that, because I'm looking at my own personal life, and it's like, okay, if I wasn't politically engaged or enthused about what happens out there, honestly, I would just be too busy to even care, because I work 24/7. I have 2 kids and a wife that I love. So after a while, you know, I get home, I pass out. You're exhausted.
Yeah, but that's because your wife makes you go home right after.
Yeah, but you go out afterwards, you know, too.
You have to be home all the time.
Yeah, I like being home too. No, I actually enjoy being at home.
It's changed.
I'm trying to put Ben in the doghouse with his wife.
This has changed.
Hey, it's right here. No, it's actually my change right here. You see it?
No, but I agree. You do have to be there. You have to have a sense of presence. And, you know, if you have the energy to be out there, social media, and do the phones, you know, then that's going to be a winner. And, you know, maybe the key is you have to work hard.
You have to work hard. There's no secret. I mean, you have to be at the grocery stores. You have to be at the gas stations. You have to be where people, you know, are at all the time. You know, there's certain things. You know, Sam's. I mean, Sam's has thousands and thousands of visitors every day. You know, so how do we get those voters that actually took the time to go register to vote, but now won't go take the time to go actually vote on that day?
Good question. We need to bring Harris County, the Hector de Leon, to the show to talk about the results of the Senate race, because he has a different perspective on how things went. So maybe next time we can invite him.
Okay. So what do we do now? As in,
Let's talk about getting involved in your community.
Okay. What does that look like? What is the ideal getting
Well, you
involved?
know, as Pancho Claus, I get a lot of Facebooks and messages saying like, "Oh, you do great in our community. I wish I could do that too." And I'm like, "You can do that."
Yeah.
Which leads me to LULAC.
There you go.
Greater Houston LULAC Council 4967.
Good segue.
We meet-
That was
we
good.
meet
You should
once
be
a
in
month,
media.
and you can get involved with your community in a big way or in a small way. We have a chorizo and menudo breakfast, a free breakfast every third Wednesday of the month at Don Araqui's, where we have major community members talking about things that are going on in our community. This one, for instance, next Saturday is going to be Adrian Garcia is going to be a speaker. Gene Green, Senator Gene Green's going to be there.
You said the third Wednesday?
Congressman, yeah, the third Saturday.
Oh, okay. Third
Yeah,
Saturday.
Third Saturday, yeah.
So Adrian Garcia, Gene Green.
A lady from the YMCA is going to talk about human trafficking.
Jose
person,
Jimenez.
what?
a person from
I'm not running for office.
an organization is going to talk about you can get free tax help if you make $50,000 a year or less. So there's going to be there's always somebody interesting speaking there, and it's free. But you can get involved by coming once a month to that and finding out what's going on and passing the word on to your neighbors. But you can get more involved by coming to our meetings. You know, we meet at Domingo building, Garcia building right there at Wayside and 45. So just contact me on Facebook, Richard Reyes or Pancho Claus, to get more information and get involved with your community. We have a youth help that we do for youth. We help senior citizens get food. We have events like a Cinco de Mayo Festival, Cesar Chavez Luncheon, and whatever your ideas are. So we encourage people that not just, there's like a dozen, Jose, LULAC organizations and
That's
other
it?
organizations.
No, there's still 30 plus councils out there.
Oh, 30 plus councils. And a lot of other organizations. So just get involved. I mean, it's the beginning of the year. Just find out. You can find out all the sales and coupons. You can find out where the community organizations are in your community.
That reminds me, Joaquin, who knows better than I do on this, it's now registration time
Yes.
for baseball. Maybe-
Yeah, I was
maybe
definitely.
you
I wanted
can tell
to
'em.
plug that in as well. I am on the board for Dixie Little League, which is in Grondo Park. But Easton, Dixie, Magnolia, you have OFA as well. All the Little Leagues are registering. And being a former PASA Little Leaguer, it's some good memories. Good memories. You know, you get involved with other adult role models, which is really, really important for any child to have adult role models. But currently, you do have registration going on in pretty much every park. And it's usually, like at Dixie right now, it's from 6 to about 8 every day. Then Saturdays from 10 to 1. We are registering currently, and we want more kids to be involved. We're getting back in as far as how to be involved. And, coaches are needed. We also need to make sure that we have team moms there. So it's a way of actually being involved. And, when you find out that you're there, then you find out some of the issues as well. And then, for example, at Dixie Little League, one of the things that we're fighting for is new restrooms. There's 2 stalls for boys and 3 stalls for girls, and the restroom is not to par basically. But once you get those families there, they're engaged and they're like, okay, well, we deserve better. So then we want to make sure that you go vote then, so that way you know who the right people to put in office. And so again, it's a domino effect. The more you get involved, the more you become educated on issues and just what's going on in your community, then the more likely you're going to be engaged in the electorate process as well too.
So for all of the Joaquin Martinez fans out there that like his Facebook page,
All the
where
25 to
find
40-year-old females out there.
at Dixie Little League, which is over there where?
It's it's in Grondo Park. The actual it's off Kelly, I believe, Kelly Street, which is behind the McDonald's in that area, Woodridge area. So,
Cliff Tuttle Library.
yes, Cliff Tuttle Library. So.
Okay, so it's behind like Didi Junior High, and the other side would be like Woodridge and
Right.
Evergreen.
Yes.
The problem is,
Big Chinese buffet?
Well, that's further down by
Okay.
45. Yeah.
the problem is you have to register early because the Martinez clan take about 5 of those teams.
We used to. We used to. We used to.
Yes, could you imagine how many there are?
But
all the little ones.
no, we have like 51 nephews and nieces. I have nephews.
Oh, my
But
goodness.
that goes
How
into
many
again.
teams is that?
51
Who's your
divided by 9.
They could have given you the vote. You have to wait till they get older.
I know, I do. And I'm working on the votes right now. But, that shows, again, parents being involved. And, it was a struggle for my dad to put us all in Little League, but he saw the investment in doing that. And exactly, Of course, and then again, you find other role models. I remember showing up to pretty much every Banjo Claus performance, and I remember going, during Christmas, listening to his tape every Christmas and past Christmas sometimes, and we used to memorize these things. But again, it's because my dad and my mother, they took that opportunity, or that, they wanted to invest in us, and so they were there. My mom was a part of VIPS, volunteer in public schools, and so those are the things that we definitely need to make sure that our families know. When you're involved, you have a say in what's going on. So
I do remember that at Ripley House, they were involved in everything, sports, culture, arts activities, but their parents were volunteers at every event at Ripley also, whether it was getting the grass going or cooking or registering people. Their parents were real involved with the community. They were always there.
On another note, the Martinez family are from Austin High School. Mr. Joaquin was top of his class when he was a senior in high school, and he also was the president of the student council, or senior class, if you will. And so he was an accomplished person, even outside, besides running for office. He was an accomplished person at high school and also in college.
He was. It sounds like you're dead or something.
Yeah,
We know something about you. We have bad news for you.
You're raising the bar, okay? You continue to raise the bar.
I think we all need to do our part, definitely.
Yeah.
We all definitely need to do our part, and I look forward to whenever my son, Joaquin, as well, will do his part, and his surroundings, and I think that's what we're all about here. And
by the way, Joaquin's son is here
Having a
Yes,
good
he
on
time with
Facebook.
You want to cover him right there? He says, wave,
He's
wave at the
on
camera.
caralibro.com, right?
Say, cara
say
libro.
hi,
Wave.
Joaquin.
Wave.
Say wave. Hi. That being said, it's everything that people do out there. If we're out there, just getting engaged is really the hardest part. Getting people to get out of their norm and take on a new challenge is really the most difficult thing that gets in everybody's way. But once they're doing it, they love it. They'll miss it. Like I used to be extremely active in LULAC, and I actually miss it also, the camaraderie and the friendship that's out there, and the good work. Because I used to say, if we get this much done with all this way that we do things, imagine what we'd do if we actually got along, And it's the same thing with, with this program. We started this program 4-5 years ago?
This is our 5th season, believe it or not.
5th season.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And it all started from a person telling us that, telling me, hey, you need to be the angry Mexican on TV. And it's like, no, that's not the way we're going to do things. And it was because I was the director of LULAC at the time, and things just progressed, and here we are bringing in a new perspective to things. And Ben, thanks for all that time.
And we used to talk about the Houston calendar back when it did exist, about all the events in the Latino community. And which reminds me, we don't have a calendar in the Latino community like that anymore. It kind of died down. Didn't have time for it anymore, to be honest with you. But we need someone to pick it back up and create a calendar of events, because when you're planning a year from now, a gala or whatever it is you're planning, it's good to know what else is happening at the time.
Yeah, definitely.
And so nobody has same events at the same time.
Yeah. If you go on Facebook now, there's like 30 events almost every day, and everybody's overlapping, and very, very little partnerships to a point, right? There's so many groups.
That reminds me, February 15th and the 16th at Talento Bilingüe de Houston, we have the Grand Opera. Free
Houston Grand Opera.
Houston Grand Opera coming to town. Actually, they're going to go to the East End. And they're gonna have a show on mariachis. So I'm looking forward to it. Free for the first 230 people? Free for the first 250 people.
Let's get that message out. Those are the kinds of things that we definitely need.
It's free, people. I mean, good Lord, it's free. Go to this event. It's free. At the Talento Bilingüe de Houston, 333 Jensen Drive.
South Jensen Drive.
South Jensen Drive. You need to go. It's free. Okay, it's going to be a show on Friday night and 2 shows on Saturday, but it's a beautiful event. I mean, the work that they're doing to get this thing to you for free and the grants they received, it is second to none, and it's going to be in the East End. And I'm going to say this, I am jealous, because I'm from the North Side, and I'm jealous that the North Side does not have a TBH in the North Side. There's no reason why there's not one in the North Side, one in the West Side, one in the South Side. It
Mecca
needs to be
Community Center in the West Side.
Mecca?
West Side.
Okay, so there needs to be something in the North Side. I mean, There shouldn't just be one. With the cultural diversity of Houston, there should be centers all over the place.
Yeah.
I anoint you as president.
I was
of
going to
Cultural
say
Arts
that,
Center.
let me know what you need, because, those
Well,
are the kind
you
of
know
things
what?
that projects
Speaking
like
of that,
You're doing the community center, you're doing the calendar, we're going to solve it all right here. You're doing the media network.
And in the middle of all that, I helped raise 2 kids and a business. Gracias a Dios. I'm blessed to say that my parents showed me how to work hard. ¿Verdad?
Yes.
That's
So-
it. And we'll have Cara Libro. endorse it.
Caralibro.com. No, but in all seriousness, please get involved. I mean, if this show doesn't help you, find someone that you know that actually cares and find out why you should get involved. If you don't like what's going on out there, if you're not paying attention to the news, or you are paying attention to the news and you think the world just is terrible, do something about it. Quit whining. Get to work. Go vote. Find people that are going to get engaged. I'm personally getting to the point where I'm tired of hearing all these whiners on Facebook going off on how terrible the world is, but it's how beautiful they can do it behind their computer or on their phone and just whine about it. Do something. Do something, right?
No, I agree.
I got on my soapbox.
I
there,
love
but-
the way you showed your heart, actually.
It's true. That's
But no,
the
it's a
way-
good
it's the
way.
way I am,
no,
man.
definitely.
Stop watching your novelas and get to work. in the
Watch
community.
us instead.
Stop taking pictures of your hamburgers and your tacos and posting them.
Don't you just love that when people take
Instagram.
pictures of their food?
He's like, we know you eating. Stop. I mean, go to the gym like us. Okay, we're not good.
No, and well, I said it jokingly, but I appreciate you stressing it in the way you stress it, because it's important. Everybody needs to find their role in what's going on, whether it's a coach as a little league coach, or politics, or volunteering in schools, whatever it might be. Starting up your own cultural arts center, everybody has a role, and once you find that, you need to just run with it and know that support system is going to be there. If you surround yourself around good people, you're going to be able to accomplish those things. So.
I think we need to get Jordan here, because people don't know what goes on behind
You're
the
right.
scenes. We need to get a picture of Jordan, at least a couple of minutes, if he can step over here and acknowledge this gentleman right here. Even though he's Anglo, let me tell you, he has dedicated.
Even though he's Anglo,
he
more
has
than
dedicated
God bless
so
he's Anglo.
much time to the Latino community. I'm
No,
serious.
seriously, he's
Yeah.
dead serious.
He has dedicated many shows here. He works behind the scenes, and by the way, they all get paid high dollar. Every one of them.
Free 99 for everybody.
Free. They volunteer their services for free.
Switch the camera. Switch the camera.
I
Say
know
wave.
he's a
Behind
little
the tinted
camera
glass.
shy. There he is.
Jordan is our executive producer in the back end and manages all the television, all the switching, everything going. Okay, you can wave again. Say
Okay,
hi.
now get back to work, Jordan.
Now get back to work so you can switch away now. So,
You're not going to get paid.
in all seriousness, when we came up with the idea, we had John T. Powell and then Jordan, and a big group of volunteers that we've had throughout the years, and for all of them, thank you. And if you want to volunteer on the show, you're welcome to. You're always welcome to join and volunteer.
One other thing, if I may, Javier, can you get a shot of Pat over there?
The superstar right there.
Javier, can you? There you go. That's Miss Pat right there. Miss Pat and Javier, husband and wife combo. Can you get a picture of Javier now?
They're taking pictures of each other. No, hombre, yeah, on television.
There we go.
All right.
Now that's the husband and wife combo that's behind the scenes, and they're always together. And thank y'all so much for what y'all do.
Yep. So a family that plays together stays together.
That's amen.
And,
Definitely.
It's
I
true.
love that.
Yeah, plays and prays together is what I like to say. So that being said, please get involved in the community. Do something. You don't have to get involved in politics, but find a school, mentor somebody, get involved with somebody other than your immediate network that you do every single day. Get out of your comfort zone. It's not that easy, but once you get used to it, you're going to miss it. And you're going to really, really enjoy what you're doing out there in the community. So, any closing words before we run out?
Thank you for all that you do, Pancho Claus and LULAC and everything else that you're involved in, because I know it takes a lot of time and energy, money out of your own pocket in some cases. And I know that a lot of the kids that you work with don't have monies, and you have to pitch in for whatever it is they need. Thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you.
All right.
I just want to echo that, even more, because again, Richard, huge impact in our life. Whenever we didn't have toys when we were kids, he brought them by. So it really does mean a lot to know that you're still doing what you're doing. And I just want to know who your successor's
so
going to be.
I'm going to get a pizza out of this?
So you owe some toys back.
I actually do. But, you know, and actually that's a good thing because we've been working in our fraternity. I'm part of Sigma Lambda Beta, and we actually help out with Navidad and Barrio as well. So,
Great
you know, what you've
organization.
done, you know, it definitely, you know, we reflect that back to the community. So it's definitely not work that's just kind of being just passed.
And I enjoyed beating one of your students.
Yes, he was one of our rappers. He danced and rapped in one of our community leaders talent shows.
I couldn't remember the lines. They had to hold a big old poster for me
We
right in
just-
front of the stage so I could read my line.
All right. And on that note, have a great evening. You're watching Latino Talk TV. We'll be here again next week, Monday night, live here at Houston Media Source. Have a great evening. Good night.